Hey, what do you get when you stop making your monthly mortgage payments and the bank starts the foreclosure process only to have the owner just walk away and abandon the house mid foreclosure? You get a zombie foreclosure. That's right. So today we're looking at zombie foreclosures. We're going to answer three questions. One, how many zombies are actually out there? Is the horde growing or is it thinning out? Number two, we're looking at how to find and identify zombie foreclosure properties if you're interested in buying one. And number three, I'm going to take you into a zombie foreclosure that I'm actually flipping right now. This is an awesome video if you're into zombies. Here we go. Watch out. So the first thing we're going to do is look at an article from ATTOM Data that's called Zombie Foreclosures Shrink to an Even Smaller Portion of U.S. Housing Stock in the Second Quarter. So keep in mind, in order to have a zombie foreclosure, you got to have a foreclosure. And despite what many people were hoping and they were wishing and wanting, and heck, they still want this, we haven't seen a huge wave of foreclosures. Now, that could ramp up. Delinquencies in the mortgage business are actually increasing. However, it's my opinion that eventually the government is going to come in and wave their fairy dust and basically bail people out. Is that the right thing to do? Probably not, but nonetheless, we got to play the hand we're dealt. So to pretend that that's not going to happen and the banks aren't going to bail people out is crazy because the evidence is here. We've seen it happen over and over again. So a lot of people are forgetting this time is different. People miss mortgage payments. The banks, the United States government's going to come in and change things and allow them to stay in their homes as long as they can. And if you have a foreclosure, if you're actually going through the process or you can't make your monthly mortgage payments, I feel for you. And I would reach out to your lender immediately. Stay in contact with them because they probably have a lot of products and ways to help you stay in your house. You don't have to just give the keys away and create a zombie. All right, so we're going to read a couple sections of this article, not the whole thing, and it'll talk about how many zombie foreclosures are actually out there. This article is linked in my description below. So they say, the report reveals that there are 237,208 residential properties in the U.S. that are in the process of foreclosure in the second quarter of this year, down 2.3% from the first quarter of 2024 and down 23.9% from the second quarter of 2023. Foreclosure activity has declined this year following a surge in cases that hit after a nationwide moratorium on lenders pursuing delinquent homeowners imposed during the coronavirus pandemic was lifted in the middle of 2021. So when coronavirus hit, they basically came out and said, hey, we're stopping the foreclosure process and you can have loan modifications. So you can be in a deferment process and defer your payments. They can modify the mortgage, change the interest rate, even forgive some of the loan. And they did that during the pandemic. And then when the foreclosure bans and all that was lifted, then there was a spike in foreclosures because banks could then all of a sudden foreclose on these people that really were kind of protected during the coronavirus. So there was a spike in the rate of foreclosures, but now that's dropping again because people are paying their mortgages. Among those pre-foreclosed properties are about 6,945 sitting vacant as zombie foreclosures. And that is a pre-foreclosure property abandoned by the owner in the second quarter of 2024. That figure is also down from the prior quarter by 5.4% and down 20.6% from a year ago. So both foreclosures and zombie foreclosures are down quarter over quarter, year over year, because pre-foreclosures are less prevalent. And because of that, you're not seeing as many zombie foreclosures. The latest count of zombie homes continues a long-term pattern of those properties representing only a tiny portion of the nation's total housing stock, currently at just 1 in every 14,724 homes. Zombie foreclosure numbers remain so small that most neighborhoods around the country face little or no threat of the blight and decay those homes can spread. All right, a couple more things here, and then we'll move on to the next article. Predictions of a huge spike in foreclosures after the moratorium with the potentials for a surge in zombie properties never came true. Indeed, the opposite has happened as abandoned homes and foreclosures continue to get harder and harder to find around the country, said Rob Barber, CEO of ATTOM. Some signs have popped up over the past year that the long U.S. housing market boom is giving back some of its gains, which could lead to declining equity and more foreclosures. We are still far from losing the benefit of having zombie properties nearly disappear from the housing market landscape. So they point out, they're being pragmatic, they point out that, hey, things could change because there has been a rise in inventory. there has been an increase in some delinquencies, and housing prices have softened in some markets and really moderated the growth that we've seen over the last 4 years. So because of all that, you've got people maybe who have bought in the last couple of years, and they may not be able to handle the high interest rates and don't have the equity to sell. So what happens? They could get foreclosed on, and then a lot of them think, forget it, I'm just giving you the keys, I'm out of here. That becomes a zombie foreclosure. And they're saying that could still ramp up again, obviously. So now they go into a couple stats as to where zombie foreclosures are happening the most. Among 168 metropolitan statistical areas in the US with at least 100,000 residential properties in the second quarter of 2024, those with at least 100 properties facing possible foreclosure and the highest zombie foreclosure rates were in Peoria, Illinois. 18.6% of properties in the foreclosure process are vacant. Wichita, Kansas, 8.4%. Cedar Rapids, Iowa, 8.3%. Shreveport, Louisiana, 8.3%. And St. Louis, Missouri, 7.8%. So comment below, do you see, if you're in one of these markets, or even if you're not, do you see zombie foreclosures around your area? Do you see houses that are completely abandoned and there's signs on the door that say foreclosure or auction or bank owned or something? Let me know in the comments below. I'd like to know, are you seeing a lot of zombies or not? Among the 35.1 million investor owned homes throughout the US in the second quarter of 2024, about 905,000 are vacant, or 2.6%. The highest levels of vacant investor-owned homes are in Indiana, Oklahoma, Alabama, Missouri, and Kansas. It's like all in the middle of the country, right? Most of it, except Alabama, I guess that's in the South. But still, like middle of the country, seems like a lot of abandoned zombie foreclosed properties. All right, now we're looking at how you actually find a zombie foreclosure. And this is from ATTOM Data as well. I'm actually pretty impressed with this article. They put it out just yesterday, and it talks about a couple of ways to find these properties, and they're ways I actually use myself. So we're going to go into this just for a minute, and then I'm going to show you my zombie flip. We're going to look at how ATTOM suggests that you find zombie foreclosure properties. Now, keep in mind that this is not just for investors and developers. They highlight that. They highlight that, hey, investors, yada, 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 developers, yada, yada, yada. But if you are someone looking for a house to live in, like long-term, like let's say you're even looking for your dream house, zombie pre-foreclosures and just zombie vacant properties can be a great way to find something no one else can find. And it's really especially useful right now because inventory is so tight of awesome homes. So forget awesome homes that are ready to move into. If you're struggling to find a property to invest in or even live in, these suggestions coming up can actually help you. So it says, an increasing number of real estate investors are looking to vacant and zombie properties as potential cash flow streams. As housing inventory continues to be low, bold developers and flippers are taking on older properties as investments, refurbishing them and selling or using them as rentals. So they go into more detail about what a zombie foreclosure is or a zombie property. It says, so a zombie home has a mortgage lien stuck in foreclosure. It is neither lien free nor foreclosed upon. A vacant property, however, is an unoccupied home, whether due to abandonment or death. In a zombie case, the homeowner often abandons the property, perhaps incorrectly believing they must move out after receiving a foreclosure notice that the foreclosing lender is now responsible for the property. These properties are sometimes vacant anywhere from 4 months to years. During that time, the home falls into disrepair, creates safety concerns, and negatively affects neighborhood value. And it goes on to say how crazy some of these vacant properties can get. It says many of these homes are left vacant for so long and the state of disrepair can be shocking. I recently talked to a real estate syndicator who, in his previous life, fixed and flipped distressed property. He could wax lyrical about the horrors he encountered: trees growing out of gutters, hoarders, meth labs, flooded homes, vermin infestations, dead animals, concrete in the drains, black mold, caved in roofs, things that would scare even the most stoic property investor. If you get into this business at all, you'll become numb to the blight, to just the absolute, crazy way that these houses can remain unoccupied and basically fall apart. And then you just look at it from a business side, like, okay, it needs a roof. So what? Put a roof on. It has a bunch of raccoons in the roof or in the attic. What do you do? Call an exterminator. Well, it has concrete in the drains. What do you do? Replace the drains. Like, it's not that complicated. It's just a step in the process. Investors and developers inclined to take on the challenge of vacant property may see significant returns from a single family home. If they fix it up as a rental, there are home buyers who would rather rent as they wait for mortgage rates to drop and inventory to pick up. If they choose to sell the property, Gen Z buyers will purchase investment properties in more affordable cities, increasing the demand for single-family homes. Zombie properties can be hard to find. They're off-market, and their owners may not realize they still own them. Consequently, if you find a vacant zombie property, less competition may allow you to buy at a discount. But how do you find them? Let's look. Number one, reach out to your real estate community. I agree with this one. There are folks around you right now called real estate wholesalers. Now, you got to do your due diligence on these deals. You certainly have to look and investigate the person that you may be buying it from, the wholesaler. But wholesalers oftentimes have listings and houses and properties available that no one else does. You're not going to find them on the MLS, Zillow, Redfin, anything like that. And they specialize in going out and finding owners who want to sell quickly and usually for cash. And then they put those contracts for assignment out in the marketplace and allow people, homeowners, even investors, to purchase those homes and fix them up. Many times they're in really bad shape. So reaching out to your local real estate community, even local meetups for real estate clubs, they do exist. That's another great way to do it. Contact the homeowner. That's their next piece of advice I'm highlighting. And this is a great one. So the way I find properties is that I go into an area that I want to purchase in. I drive the streets. I look for properties that maybe have weeds growing, over the gutters. They look like they haven't been mowed in months. Not only that, but in the wintertime, if you don't see any footprints from the snow, in the snow outside, if it snows where you live, that's a good sign maybe the property is abandoned. And you can just kind of get a sense after driving around for a while is, hey, I drove around, I looked at all these houses. There's 3 of them that look like they need a lot of help. I write those addresses down. I look up the owner information in propstream.com. Encourage you to check out PropStream, real estate database that sometimes is better than the MLS, and anybody can access it. It does cost money. But the link's in my description below. But I use PropStream, find the contact data from the owners, and then mail them a letter. And the letter just says, this is my name. This is what I do. I noticed your house. Are you interested in selling it? If so, give me a call. Sometimes they say no. Sometimes they call and they say, take me off your list. That's okay. I do. But you'd be shocked, surprised, and amazed how many people actually call you back and say, let's talk about my house. And that's how I buy a lot of my flips, rentals, And this works with single family, duplex, triplex, quads. It even works with apartment buildings. I bought an apartment building this way. So it does work. I call it driving for dollars. So get in your car. It's sunny. It's summertime right now. Get in your car and drive for dollars. Drive the streets, find the properties that look like you could add some value. Number 5, they say, do your due diligence. Okay, I get that, right? Like any investment, investigate it from top to bottom. Don't think you're just going to come in and, get it for the cheap price, throw some paint on it, and then sell it. Sometimes that can happen, but generally speaking, they need a ton of work and a ton of investment and a ton of time. So make sure you do your due diligence. It's funny, they kind of act like, zombie properties, zombie pre-foreclosures are like the thing to do, or like the new thing. So they kind of act like zombie foreclosures, zombie properties are something that is new, or hey, if you're an investor, this is something you should check out. Well, the truth is a lot of investors already look at this stuff, right? However, as a homeowner or somebody just wanting a property for your family, could be a way to get something that you're never going to find on the MLS. All right, so now we know how many zombies are out there, we know how big the horde is, and we know how to identify the zombie. I'm going to show you now a real zombie property that I'm in the process of flipping. It's about a month out from being finished right now. I've completely transformed this house. It took a ton of time, energy, and cash to get it done, but now it's going to be a awesome, affordable house for somebody to live in. So I purchased this house with a flip in mind. And the reason why I did that was because I knew that I could flip it and make it into a house that I could sell. So I knew the end product would be an affordable house and it would be priced underneath the median price in the area. And that's the key. If you're flipping a house, in my opinion, right now in this market, you need to make sure it's an affordable house and make sure it can pass FHA, it can pass VA guidelines with inspections. So the major components in the house, the roof, the windows, the heating, the air conditioning, the plumbing, the electric, and basic functioning of the house is key. After that's done, then add any bling that you have left in your budget. Focus on what's needed first. That's the technique I've used to make sure when I flip a house as an affordable house, I stay on budget. So this is a house that I purchased about a year ago. It's taken a while to flip it, actually. It is out in the middle of the country, so it's not easy for contractors to get there. As you can see, I had a lot of stuff in the yard that I had to clean out. These stairs that you're looking at now were unsafe, couldn't even walk on them. The house actually became abandoned, but the people that lived there and the owner are great people. So anyway, this was a great spot. It could be a nice home. It had the bones to be a nice home. It just needed some love, right? So had to come in, clean it all out. You have to think of these things like, oh, I got to bring in a dumpster. I got to have a crew come in and actually demo the walls, demo what's in disrepair, take all this garbage and trash and old cars, get that out of here. You have to think of all those things when you're looking at a house like this. All right, so we were on the outside then, obviously walking around the house, needs some work. Now you're going to see what it looks like inside. Now, inside needed a ton of work and the clean out job was massive. So my son's actually filming me right now, my kid, so that I could kind of explore. Now, this is the basement. I love the basement of this house. That had a walkout basement with onto 5 acres, but there was an old bathroom down there that was like unused. Had to rip that out. But yeah, found everything in this house. A lot of dead animals by the time I got my hands on it and actually was able to do anything with it. There were rats in the walls that I had to exterminate, but I had a couple rooms in the basement that were quite frankly kind of strange, and had to rip all those walls out, had to rip all the insulation out, all the drywall, redid all the electric, all the plumbing. And you can see that's the electrical box, right? All new windows. And then here's upstairs. So it has a lot of natural light. Again, a lot of good potential, a lot of good bones. Just need a facelift. So I had to put all new cabinets, new kitchen, new bathroom, new flooring, everything, including the kitchen sink. That's what the house looked like. Now I'm going to show you where it is right now as we sit today. Again, about 30 days out from getting it finished and on the market. Big difference, right? In an upcoming video, I'll actually show the completed project all together. But we just put in some landscaping. My kid and I, my wife, they all participate in the business with me. And we went out and put some landscaping in, had the house painted, which obviously made a big difference. All new windows, had all the decks fixed, had the land bulldozed so it was level, had a new septic system put in, and had this back area completely redone. You can see big difference. It's going to make an awesome house for somebody to live in. It has this awesome sunroom up there that was really almost ready to fall down. Had to have somebody come in and put all new support beams in, new footers in. My painter, he's fantastic. My contractor is also fantastic. And that was probably one of the harder things to find in real estate investing. So that's my project. Again, it wasn't necessarily a zombie foreclosure, but I will call it a zombie house. I found this property through the methods we talked about earlier. And by the way, I do have a free flip calculator and rental cash flow calculator that you can download anytime you want. The link's in my description below. It's 100% free. It's in Google Sheets. So you can manipulate it. You can change it. You can share it with others if you want. But I use that tool to help me analyze properties like this to find out what price should I offer and if it's a good investment or not. So it's an awesome tool. You should take advantage of it. All right. So that's Zombie Foreclosures. And you got to see what my zombie property looked like. At the end of the day, you have to do to be successful. And many times that involves doing things others are not willing to do. That includes going and actually talking to homeowners, sending them letters, networking with your real estate community to find opportunities, even if it's a property you want to live in, not necessarily invest in. Now, I'd love to know what your experience is and maybe even zombie properties. If you've ever flipped one in this community, viewers on this channel actually have. So it does happen. And again, I'd love to understand if you have experience doing that. Lastly, subscribe to my channel. I just passed 500 subscribers. And if you're one of those people, thank you. If you're not, jump on board because we're going to keep going, and like this video. It helps with YouTube's goofy algorithm. All right, that's the end. I'm Jason Ferrier. This is Ohio Real Estate. That's a zombie property, but now it's a beautiful zombie property. All right, see you guys later.